probably coming in, but they took Morgana Caitlyn against Zyra Khan from Uzi and Ming, and they destroyed Ming specifically in that laning phase and snowballed the game. RNG needs to make sure that does not happen again.
They're not allowing Yasuo through. That's a very interesting ban against Pobelta based on
I
stage
think it's
games.
unnecessary.
Based on stage games, you'd have to agree. Maybe he's owning it up in scrims.
Oh, wow. And Doublelift not willing to first pick Kai'Sa, actually, respecting what the laning is going to look like against Uzi and Ming. Hoping they can pinch the champion pools, I suppose, in some way.
And if it does end up going to counter-pick supports or counter-picks in general, we know RNG have the final overall pick, and I like the fact that this time they recognize the Morgana, so suddenly Rakan is a champion we have to draw our eyes to.
Yeah, and I want to see if RNG leaves it open, would Team Liquid be ready to grab that Rakan first for Ole and say, okay, we're going to put you on a huge playmaker, even though he's actually looked the best on the more defensive supports. The Morgana obviously already being banned, so last game he had there with a range support as well. But RNG do not want to take the chance, they just get rid of it. Trundle once again becomes the standard first pick, but teams can change it.
Oh, okay.
That's a Malzahar first pick.
Yeah, I am shocked that champion was left available for the North American LCS squad. I think everyone on our side of the fence is like, yeah, this is the champion, it's worked for Pobelta, and that RNG gave it away. They must have something prepared to counter it.
Well, there's a lot of picks you can grab against Malzahar.
I agree. There's so much that can be worked into it. Karma might be the first pick here, but the Karma mid lane, while she has a good laning phase against Malzahar, wouldn't necessarily be a counter. It is a very nice red side pick for the flex pick
Exactly.
status.
I like it if the other team then grabs a Tam Kench, you put the Morgana down the bot lane against it. But specifically about the Malzahar, even if you do lose the laning phase or you're in a bad matchup, Malzahar, especially for Pobelta, is just such a huge pick because it really allows him to set up Doublelift to succeed. It's not about Pobelta being the big carry. He's forcing QSSs. He has a point-on-click suppression. There are so many things he adds, and if anyone needed proof that Malzahar was the pick for Team Liquid, well, they just first picked it.
And when it comes back to that damage share numbers that everyone was gasping about, every time he plays Malzahar, Doublelift's damage share will go up because really, like the Fisher was talking about, the CC duration, the suppression, rather than the damage from the mid lane.
All right, well, the Trundle, as you mentioned before, does get to be locked in on the Liquid side. They just got to wait a little bit longer to grab it as World Never Give Up wanted to get the Kog'Maw. It's been a pretty huge pick for Uzi. He's done well on it, to be honest. It's a medium to strong laner, is a Rageblade power spike item, good on 1, good on 2, 3, 4. Throughout the rest of the game, I think it's just a very well-rounded champion. Uzi will always have some level of pressure.
And we see that same thing where Kai'Sa Ezreal gets banned, 2 AD carries that can match in the mid-game, but the Jhin was the one we could just start looking towards because it was the champion used in the start of MSI group stages for Team Liquid. It was unsuccessful. They stepped away from it, but they brought it back yesterday against Fnatic, and Doublelift hard carried on that champion.
Now there is a pretty big element of risk. All they had seen was a flex pick Karma and a Kog'Maw, and famously you stack the tanks and then perhaps the Jhin will struggle. Maybe the duality was they were anticipating either a tank jungler comes out and Trundle gets a happy time, or the Graves comes out and then you do have another frontliner that Jhin can actually excel against because he can actually kill the Graves.
So a lot fewer picks available now for the LPL. We see the Singed ban away from Impact. Honestly, a very good squishy hunter in that champion.
Also very good against some of the tanks you can blind pick up in the top lane. Like Ornn is always the go-to one on the red side in your first pick in the second phase, and Singed is a pick against him.
Basically, they could just ban Singed into after that the Shen and say we're picking on 100% because the Shen is of course usually Impact's answer to that particular Ornn.
Let's see if it actually is going to be banned away by Team Liquid. Yeah, Shen is being the other one coming in. Because RNG, if they grab the Ornn, the good thing is they can still save that mid lane and therefore also the support pick for last. And they can always swap the Karma down to bot lane if they need to.
Who's ready for Ornn versus Cho'Gath in the top lane? I think that's a likely one to look at here for Impact, unless they want to look somewhere entirely different and put him on a carry in this clutch game. It's not been a look that's been great for him, but always an option, of course, as Tahm Kench removes one of the support options here from Ming.
Yeah, and I think Team Liquid are fine just saying we can give you Ornn, we get Cho'Gath. Because if they ban the Ornn here and Cho'Gath got locked in by Let Me, there's very few tanks left.
Maokai.
Agreed.
Maokai would then be suddenly the choice, and he's been very unsuccessful when we have seen him.
Absolutely agree. So RNG, are you denying the Cho pick? Or sorry, the Ornn pick, that's the one we meant to say, and yes it is. So what is the top lane matchup for Impact? And what will be the support for Ole? It's quasi-blind. You expect Karma to be a flex support or mid.
See, the Cho'Gath is just piled in as you would expect normally for Team Liquid to respond to the Ornn, given that, like you mentioned, small, effective top lane pull for both these players. The Scion is also available.
Oh, okay.
We'll see what's happening here. Which will be the Scion top lanes. Just a very much a tank, so pretty low damage comp from the side of TL. Basically dependent on those skill shots and auto attacks hitting from double lane.
And it's actually interesting because this is the first time in group stages Impact grabs the Scion. One of the problems for him so far has been leaving his lane unless he was on Shen. He's often been just sitting in that top lane, and then once the team calls for him, he walks all the way into a potential Baron. In this case here with the Scion ult, there's a lot more room for him to actually move and be impactful. Ornn can struggle to follow. We get the Karma pick now, the Janna pick coming in for Ole, and they're saying we need a range support on our side. Even though Janna, at the moment, is not really going to ult anything, it's actually a very good champion from RNG against Janna specifically.
It's mostly for lane impact, going for the range support there, but I take your point, Deficio. You can think of what else John has picked up for, and of course that is the Ardent Sensor on the Monsoon. Doesn't really synergize that well with TL's comp. If you think about the Braum, it would have meant that Double Lift could open up, the Braum could interrupt the Ornn ultimate with a backwards Unbreakable. Now they don't have an interruption on that ultimate, unless we see Malzahar diving into the backline. That means that Double Lift's effective damage in fights is looking pretty low.
It's going to be hard to navigate here on the Team Liquid side. Still a pretty big front line and a healthy back line, but the question is, will you withstand a buffed up Kog'Maw for the damage output here? RNG's comp looking very well rounded from a damage output and even the types of damage available to them. This is a very scary look. The LPL, their representative Royal Never Give Up, poised to take a #1 seed. If they win here, they will have their tiebreaker with Flash Wolves and can take that #1 spot heading into the knockout stage and have their choice of opponent between either Liquid or Fnatic or even Kingzone down there.
Yeah, because the Liquid Fnatic would then be the other tiebreaker we would have to play for the 4th place to see which team will go to Paris.
Crowd seem to know who they like.
Yeah, well, you look at those cheerfuls, and there are a lot of RNG fans out there. Keep in mind, Fnatic fans cheering for them as well to keep their team alive. Game 6 of 7 or 8 today as the players load in. RNG sure to play another one, either a tiebreak for first or a tiebreak for second. Liquid hoping it doesn't come to that, but if they win here or they win a little bit later on, they will be the 4th and final representative in the knockout stage in Paris, starting on Friday.
So many different stories need an ending. The chapter of the group stages is close to ending, but will not end in 6 games. Almost ready to load in here. I just want to see the action, Freak. I just want to get started.
I do too, and the players are on the rift. The champion's ready to move, the fans ready to watch, and we are all ready to cast. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. The battle for first, the battle for 4th has begun. Pobelter dancing back and forth against Xiaohu.
30 seconds until minions
Very interesting start here. The Sapphire Crystal for the Malzahar. Just working towards the very early tier. We talked about how Team Liquid's teamfight damage may be a query. One place where they're very strong is their Baron setups. They can start Baron, they can tank it, they can turn off it. So post 20 minutes, we'll return to that point. But to me, this game needs to be won around objectives for Team Liquid.
Let's see if the bot lane as well, with this Janna pick coming in, can actually win the laning phase, because as we highlighted in the pick and ban phase, the Janna ult, when it comes to purely disengaging something, is not going to be too valuable, but the heal is always very impactful. Just a lot of long-range champions and long-range engage from an Ornn on RNG's side. Quick point on the Malzahar. Typically, your problem is mana in the early game.
Sure.
You kind of don't want to trade too much with the enemy. You just want to really push the minion wave, and that's why, again, starting with Mana Crystal and TP to go back, as you highlighted, Papa Smith, is important.
This invade did get spotted. RNG wanted to take away the red buff, but looks like Team Liquid able to answer that cleanly enough. And they're going to be able to knock that one down without any answers. So we'll see how much of the rest of the jungle gets stolen away. Now this red will be uncontested. Now Liquid should have the push advantage on the bottom side, but that won't matter if MLXG gets to free farm the entire camps down there.
And that's a great point, Freak, about the vertical jungling. It's usually what happens here. It's usually safest to just back up to your blue buff after you take away the enemy red side jungle. That does really advantage the side of RNG, because the ability to push with a Janna becomes increasingly risky as the game goes on if you know MLXG is bot side.
And this could be a little bit scary. We can see Xiao, who does have the push, but Walter not really able to answer Karma in the very early levels. Looks like Trundle will not yet be punished, and they can trade the Raptor camps, as we watch Team Liquid do pretty well in the 2-on-2. But yeah, won't get the entire camp right there, so Smithy is now behind in the jungle speed.
It's very interesting, looking both at MLXG on the Graves and Xmithy on the Trundle, because Xmithy has been one of the absolute best performing junglers during this tournament. Been able to stand out even when Team Liquid were losing all the games in the start. And MLXG has been very hit and miss. I think the first few days he actually underperformed, but then started showing us much better games. And this Graves, it needs to be a big one for him if RNG wants to lock in the chance to face Flash Wolves.
His Lee Sin game from behind was, to me, the most atypical game because he found so much impact despite being in a no-win combat scenario against Graves. This time he's on the Graves, so from the front foot, it's a very different predicament.
Good start from him. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, as you highlighted before, Freak, Double Lift, and Ole will, of course, get the early push. And it is interesting that RNG had the chance to go range support in the bot side and say, okay, no, we know Team Liquid's win condition is Double Lift gets ahead, and we can try and match that, but opted into the Braum for just better overall team fighting, where he is so powerful, but also does help if you are setting up ganks, especially level 6 when you can fly in and ult onto something like a Janna. He's gonna have to see if it actually works for main, because Uzi, he normally doesn't struggle in lane, no matter what he's laning with. I've seen him win lanes he shouldn't, never even get close to winning. And this one, he is staying even for now. Let's see mid lane.
Looking at the mid lane, they're gonna have the root there from Pobelter. He's gonna be in range despite the flash, the burst. Is it there? The Q's gonna bounce. Pobelter will fall. MLXG grabs first blood.
And that's what happens if you do run the mid lane karma. The tether lands, doesn't go for the flash early enough. Nice kill for the side of RNG.
Very well played on that side. 500 gold lead now to the squad, and even a small push on the bottom side as the farm is traded back and forth pretty equally. Xmithy just to grab his own Krugs in the backside. MLXG now getting the better of that early phase, but here's the tier, and Pobelter is able to get back to lane.
Just talk about how MLXG has looked better here towards the end of this group stage. Great start. On his side, we get a replay of it. Just Zhao, who's setting up the kill. MLXG with the double buff showing up. And Pobelter lane is pushing for him. He's still in a fine position. Problem is just that tether still connecting. Then you can't get out.
And there's terrain, of course, for the Q to bounce back from MLXG and get the maximum damage there. Power of the tether, just a single auto attack tether, and by the time Pobelter had his wits around him, it was too late.
Now you can look at this bottom lane, and even though you say range supports lane priority, it's now actually Uzi with the farm lead and the lane equilibrium. So Grats, I should say, well played to the roll. Never give up bottom lane here. As Let Me is going to trade blows of Impact at the top side. Small farm lead for the Scion, so good job Impact there. Pobelter tries to keep the Raptors safe, but MLXG wants to steal these away.
Get at least a few of them. More importantly, he keeps pressure around the Raptor and the mid lane. Always means that Team Liquid's bottom lane needs to be careful, because there might suddenly be a Graves showing up behind them from their own jungle, and it's just applying a little bit more pressure by having this control of one camp. Ming is back in lane with TP, and he goes straight for a trade.
It takes a fair bit of damage for it. Does hit Ole, who is out of mana and low on health, so might need to recall himself pretty soon. Looking at the item timings, we do have VF Sword money available for double lift and plenty of spots here, and this could be really big damage. The stun comes across, forcing Summoner heal out. Of course, there is no Ignite, but they're going to get the root onto Uzi. Is there anyone here to join up? The Ignite is on, and a nice bouncing grenade hits him pretty low. The
trading patterns there a bit risky from TL, specifically Ole, low on mana as they walked out. That's the thing Ming did have, is freshly full on health and mana for these sort of trades. Uzi wants an extended laning phase. The longer it is, the closer to the rage bait he can get on his first back.
And if they fight again, remember, Uzi kept his heal from before. Both summoners used heal and ignite on the side of Team Liquid.
And Shahu has teleport. This could be an easy 4v2. Team Liquid might be double killed down into this turret. They're going to clear the waves so they can buy some space, but it is not hard for Graves to stop recalls afterwards. Uzi not looking to land the poke here. Ole puts the shield on. They're going to try to find out where Graves might be, but yeah, he's in that brush. Now actually gives away the positioning. And Liquid know what they're dealing with. There is still a TP ward that the Karma can show up to. Getting a couple more levels is 5 right here. Nice juke away from end of the line, and they are allowed to farm.
I think one of the reasons RNG did not go for the play here was Impact had just recalled, so he was saving his TP. He was walking back to top lane. If the dive would start, he could TP into bot lane and maybe turn it around.
Sion walked up near the mid lane actually for this one. I'm not sure exactly what for, if it was a ward or something else, but was showing around there. Hasn't yet walked back the top side, and now an invade towards this jungle. RNG want to be here. They've been spotted though.
This might be a big one. Both top laners saving TPs. We know Sion was around. He's on his way from mid now. They might be fighting here. Ole is around the corner. He's engaged.
Right, suppression's in. This fight's going to grab this one. Do they have the damage? A nice knockup comes through, and it doesn't matter what blast cone is there. The kill comes in, assists on all 4.
Good job there by Team Liquid. They do secure the kill. RNG had put in multiple wards earlier to get these sort of invades to be pulled off, but with Impact being able to just drift in faster than a teleport, they get the kill.
Oh, and the pillar is in. Xiaohu does have flash, though, can get away from this without too many difficulties and pushes Smithy back out.
I think Smithy wanted to potentially try and allow Pobelter to push out because there's no ult on this Malzahar. He's almost out of mana, so that was never really going to work. But this is simply a surprise for RNG that Impact is still around mid with this sign. They were expecting him to have to TP in for a fight. When he then gets to ult, they see him now. But at this point, the engage is on and they can't really get out. So the fact that Impact did not go back to top lane, kept hovering around knowing, okay, there is a chance they invade in. He ended up showing up, grabs himself an assist.
And all the players that have gone just a little bit wide earlier in the tournament are that much more reliable with the suppression from the Malzahar. They left themselves open to a counter pick. Graves and Karma certainly can make short work as a duo onto the Malzahar. The Malzahar can also farm if it's just Karma in the lane.
And MLXG actually wants his blue for himself, sends Xiaohu back over to the mid lane as he pushes in and keeps Pobelter away from much of this. Yeah, this is a 0 mana Malzahar. That said, does have teleport, can show back up into the lane. We'll see if he burns it here. It is a cannon wave, might be important that he is able to stop this from knocking his turret down. Will lose 1 CS.
Xiaohu gets to go back on his side, and I think Team Liquid are fine playing Malzahar against the Karma. They're not really going to feel the difference too much in the early game. And of course now when Malzahar gets his ulti, his skirmish power really spikes up compared to Karma that doesn't really benefit that much from a level 6. So that means suddenly we can see Smithy continue playing around that mid lane and look for a potential kill on the Karma bot lane. Uzi continues to do extremely well in his lane, large CS gap, and continue to push toward top lane.
So far the pushing lane wasn't certainly synonymous with a successful invade. It's double up again.
Nice flash ult. The chain stun is in. They're not going to knock back Uzi easily enough. Ming grabs that kill. RNG have their second.
Fantastic play from both Ming and Uzi. They see the small opening and they flash in so fast that Doublelift cannot react in time. And the moment the CC hits, he's dead.
And it's all about the timings. Olay was a couple of minions away from 6. Ming pings it, goes in. Olay only has a shield and 1 Q to disengage. He has everything up, but Doublelift dying, and that turret's super low.
And now the pressure is the top side, though, to answer this in some way. Unstoppable goes forward. He's still going to find this one. The CC is there. Let Me is flashless. This has to be a kill for Team Liquid. A bit of time gained, but not really much. And there's 1 kill on the top side. First turret still to go to Uzi in the bot.
This is what we have seen all tournament long from Smithy. Whenever something happens on one side, he's ready to respond on the other side. Instant kill on Let Me, can push the minion in from Impact, and let's see if Let Me wants to TP back to top lane. Because then Impact can save his, and we might get Team Liquid with an advantage on the other side. For now though, they have lost the bot lane turret. The Drake is going down in favor of MLXG. Uzi, 104 CS already.
Solo gold on the turret as well, so the Rage Blade is going to be available. And now wherever he goes, Team Liquid had better have a flash Malzahar ultimate, or they're going to have a lot of damage to respect.
Yeah, they need that TP advantage, so that Impact comes in. It's a 5 versus 4, but that's not happening because Let Me, he's just saving it. He's walking back to his lanes. And classic, the AD carry decides what's going to happen. Fashion, you can see that it is Let Me who is forced to go bot lane with the wave that's pushed towards Doublelift, and Uzi grabs everything on top side.
Now Ming was level 6 already in vision, and Doublelift goes for a single auto. Olay is 6, it goes a different way, but he walks up and RNG smite him down. Remember previous RNG support Emada surprising Doublelift with aggression. This time Ming goes in decisively, and that decisiveness gets Uzi so much gold.
So 1,400 gold puts RNG ahead. Impact hoping to wave clear against this duo. There is just about an ultimate available for this Braum, as the bot lane's going to be pushed in thanks to Rift Herald. And it's going to be maybe a turret trade here. I don't think Let Me can defend this too terribly easily, but Xiaohu is here as well. Good wave clear out of Impact, and now it's Ming and Uzi under the turret. They're going to layer some crowd control, and it is going to be the kill picked up. Ming drops aggro cleanly. Nice pickup as Rift Herald is sieging the bottom lane, but it is not the same kind of advantages that RNG gained topside.
Oh, Pobel is on his way now. He wanted to push the wave first, and the moment he shows up, RNG needs to back away. So it's going to be a turret trade, but there's another kill for RNG, and this one goes to Uzi.
And this is where Pobelter's kind of caught between 2 different masters. RNG know their damage output and Impact overstaying against the very early Rage Blade takes him down. All Pobelter did in the meantime is push a wave, walk bottom, and recall. That means that RNG increased the turret speed.
And that wave wasn't even denied. Actually, MLXG was able to walk down to mid, collect the farm as Xiaohu backfilled bottom lane. So Royal are playing this mid-game macro better. The power spike of Rageblade, of course, helped, but they are still allocating the resources into better spots.
Very, very true. And RNG looking towards the last outer turret, which is in the mid lane, of course. As we highlighted earlier, once Malzahar gets a bit of mana, he can start just doing this. Eat a wave, put his minions down, and it will just always push. Let's see if it engages.
Flash ult comes in, expected here for the pillar. There is a flash for Xiao, who does get over the wall and gets back out. A start of a TP for Let Me, and is going to cancel that one. Wasn't maybe a bit over aggressive. I don't think it was going to die on that one, but at least a small teleport advantage now for Impact, which could be used, but there is no Drake or Baron to take.
RNG already sieging towards mid. I think Team Liquid had a good plan there. If you can kill the Karma before RNG shows up to siege, you prevent them from playing aggressive until Karma respawns, and it buys quite some time. But obviously the damage just wasn't there because Smithy never got in range to auto.
And Uzi with his snowball, it hasn't gone for a Zeal, he's gone for a QSS to stop him from being the one who could be picked through all the shielding available on RNG, and that's what happens. We criticized QSS timings in our first game of our set. That was from Fnatic. They were respecting a Skarner, this time early QSS.
Here's the horn looking as Doublelift's knocked into the air. Ole as well, just chaining the crowd control, and Jin is going to fall yet again. RNG get killed, number 4, a fitting target for that.
They knew that there was no flash on Doublelift. They knew that the Janna cannot really disengage against a long-range engage off an Ornn, and Ming, second time, he just goes straight at Doublelift. Of course, his flash, lower cooldown due to the spellbook, and that's now 2 kills against Doublelift.
They can continue the push here. Impact, even with a teleport, it's not going to inspire any fear into their eyes. They continue to push here. Pobelta's flash down, his ultimate available soon. And all TL can do is try to stem the bleed.
I hope they can staunch this before too long. If they get lightheaded, it's going to be lights out for them. 2,500 gold behind. Team Liquid is hoping to find those openings. Only the first item just now completed for Doublelift. He is pretty sadly behind Uzi, who's able to stop by for a Quicksilver Sash and still seems to have better items on his inventory. So great play from the RNG duo. First turret as well as a gold lead from farm.
And he's gone for a bit of the no-no item. The Essence Reaver this tournament has been a struggle because of how fast games are being played. We've seen other Jins go for the Swiftness Boots into the Rapid Fire Cannon just to abuse the 4th shot and the damage that can do and the mobility it provides. Eventually there will be damage coming through the Doublelift, but that eventually is looking like a long ways away, and by then RNG may have so many objectives across them.
Have to wait and see. Obviously the last game that Team Liquid managed to get the Malzahar in was earlier today against Flash Wolves, and there was a Kai'Sa that had next to it. So what ended up happening in the late game fight was they knew Doublelift will carry this fight as long as we just protect him and line up targets right in front of him. Jin is a little bit harder in that way to use, a lot more about just stacking up for the 4th shot and also use of your abilities to both utility but also long-range pick. It is not the same kind of late-game damage as we see from that Kai'Sa pick, so it's going to be a little bit harder for Doublelift to actually win the late-game fights for his team, but it is possible.
Almost the entire gold lead is in 2 QSSs I see. Graves has one as well, so that he can walk up. They want to be able to put down vision and not have to respect Malzahar ultimate every time they walk through the river. The gold lead isn't unassailable yet. Only about 2,500 gold. Pobelta trying to hit the map on the top side.
Yeah. And nor are the champions unassailable as well. You've got Ardent Sensor coming in next for Xiaohu, so he's not picked up that core defensive item. Could still be a target, of course, is still flashless right now, and Pobes is a shorter cooldown because of Spellbook. But mid lane's being sieged right now. Uzi's so hard to defend against 4 in here right now. Top will fall from Pobelta.
They can TP.
Okay, this is going to be some really big pressure, though. How well can this defense go as a turret's on a half HP? Uzi always able to play the maximum. As Impact's going to be spotted out by Let Me. This could be a dead Scion. Here comes the call. The Forge God jumps in to land the crowd control, and it's going to be a lot of damage. Impact yet to find his way out. Does get shut down. A great flash block the ultimate. That was beautiful. RNG get another.
But a shame for TL here that Impact decides to move in towards the mid lane to do something, because it was actually a good setup. Malzahar is a great split pusher because he can kill the wave so fast, and he's fairly safe with his passive to then walk away if someone is nearby. But the problem here for TL was they could kill the wave, but they didn't want to fight. So when Impact showed up, Pobelta ends up TPing in, and they still lose a kill.
And they have no control over their bot side jungle. That's where RNG have enjoyed so much of their vision, all their vision top side for TL. So unless Impact was taking...
Yeah, it's a flash, but it's still almost can be taken down by some more sniping, but no follow in. Greedy movement there, and this is going to be mid-turret likely falling.
And it's really awesome to see RNG punish these greedy small moves. Let's see what happens around mid, and Ming will just end up standing in the way here. But as you just said there, Freak, like greedy movement from Ole, Impact, walking up to mid lane as well, in a position where he was trying to set up a potential flank, and RNG instantly spotted and punished.
And when you have the tempo, you force your enemies to walk the longest route around. Impact chose not to. He felt didn't want to use his teleport there after Malzahar had to invest his. They do eventually end up taking the top lane turret, and they haven't sacrificed mid yet. So a bit of standing gold, a bit once again of the game slowing down. That pace suits Team Liquid as we once again are about 2 minutes away from the Baron spawn.
That's going to be very important timing, and what the gold lead looks like when that comes around. This lead actually slipping under 2,000. Liquid are doing a good job finding farm. Kowalter was quite often unanswered in that side. He's up to 180 CS, a player that we had maligned a lot for having bad split push games, getting caught out, being too aggressive, is actually leading his team in farm, and he's up 30 on his opponent.
And in games like this, where RNG just can't take out the 3 outer turrets at 13 to 15 minutes, super snowball lead, all their lane assignments are, how can Uzi pick up the most farm? He's the one picking up the slack. He's the one who just monopolizes farm, sometimes picks up double buffs on Kog'Maw. We saw that in the LPL playoffs. That means that they do slow down. They want to trust in their item timings. But that, again, extends the game in a way that doesn't smother out Team Liquid.
So when does the next power spike come in? We are pretty close to Hurricane out of Uzi. The Ardent Sensor crucially done now, and the Seraph's Embrace combined and converted as well for both these mids. Xiaohu can now make these team fights great for the double marksman.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at a situation where the next couple of minutes, all the damage is in Uzi's favor, both with the buff from the Ardent Sensor and just his own items and champion. RNG didn't know that, so they keep moving around mid lane, try and set up Uzi, just get a few hits on the turret or a potential fight. Impact is on his way from bot lane. Ulti is available, but he knows if he dives in alone, he dies fairly quickly.
Gold in inventory, actually. There's more in the pockets right now of Team Liquid. They're actually under farm compared to the gold right now. They're not going to come by. They find Pobauter. The burst going to be enough. He flashes back, but now they get Smithy knocked into the air. He's running out of health. Popsicle does run away, and now Liquid going to open back up with Curtain Call. Is there a target, though, as Let Me just tanks the shots with the shield on. A bit of damage towards Xiaohu, but a disengage. Flashes down 1-2. On Liquid side.
And they're going very even. Double Lift has to flash right at the end, which is the one awkward thing to discuss. Ole had a great channel on the Monsoon to heal up everyone and stop everyone from going down.
Ooh, Smithy.
Dangerous. He spots the opponents, but Xiaohu's going to be in range for this one. Smithy does not have flash, a good pillar. Let Me, can he find the crowd control? He's going to run as fast as he can. Xiaohu flashes in for the Q. He's going to be able to train the route as well. Smithy is going to drop. Another kill comes through as the mid turret falls as well. Royal stretches the lead almost 4,000.
Another situation where Team Liquid are trying to get a little bit more than maybe they should try and go for here, and they get punished instantly by RNG. They also lose the mid lane turret. I really want to highlight Ming specifically on the Braum whenever these fights are starting. He's always jumping in the front line. He's landing crucial CC, and he managed to force that flash right after from double. It could be huge for the next one. So them grabbing a Braum, not a range support, win the lane, and then they can do this in team fights.
But for moments like this, I would have said that resetting this team fight and no one dying was a win for Team Liquid, delaying the mid lane turret going down. I thought the action would have ended with the curtain call. We had so much after that, and then Smithy caught with his hand in the cookie jar, stealing away a blue buff.
Yeah.
This really seemed tone deaf to really that Team Liquid should have just been purely fighting for that mid lane turret.
Mid lane turn, of course, did go to World, never give up. In addition to that kill, RNG's lead about 4,000 right now. And of course, both these teams have reset. Full Hurricane done, which is a huge, huge bit of power for this Kog'Maw. Uzi will be incredibly difficult to deal with. Good luck to Team Liquid dealing with that. Quicksilver Sash still not yet for the mid lane. Could still be a target.
Yeah, if you're looking at squishy targets for Pobauter to ult, it is really only Xiaohu on the Karma. There should be a lot of protection coming in from him. I can only engage this Ornn pick has also been crucial.
They know Flash is down.
And Double has nowhere to go. Into the air he is, an Uzi on a killing spree. The picks were there. Let Me get the ult.
And you just get punished. The moment you're out of position without your summoner, RNG goes straight towards the Baron. We're only 21 minutes in. They got a Mountain Drake and the Infernal. Let's see here if Team Liquid wants to do something. Smithy is around, but no flash on his side.
4v5 for a Baron Steel. Liquid backs against the wall. This could be RNG taking the game and getting too big of a lead on this one. A silence in the front line, looking for damage to press the Braum, but he's not a great target. Impact somehow gets into the back line, but he's alone, has to flash right back out. and this Baron still dangerously low. Can Smithy find himself a steal? He's not going to have the chance. Picked up cleanly, and the re-engage is there to grab even more kills as Liquid are just bleeding the map, and Royal Never Give Up are on form.
And RNG play the Baron dance perfectly. Impact teleports in, trying to create pandemonium. Instant disengage at 3,000 health on the Baron. From there, they only re-engage when they know Smithy can't get in the pit. This is absolutely textbook stuff from RNG.
Yeah, we laugh when we see some of the crazy Baron steals, but we also got to remember to celebrate when we see a team really execute around Baron itself. There was no flash from Smithy, so it's hard for him to get in, but still RNG had to react to a TP coming, had to dance around, not fully reset the Baron, while still denying Team Liquid's chances of getting in to steal it.
Because it's an outnumbered scenario, Let Me, Ming, they can all tank the Baron for longer. One impact flashes out. Smithy doesn't have a flash to contest the pit. They re-engage it. Beautiful stuff. And I'm all about the good setups. I know this is something you have to drill, that you need many games to kind of get your wits around you, and the teleports usually are the variable to change it. Not this time for RNG.
It is very fun to see, though, in this game how we have two teams that's been winning a lot of games the last 2 days, fighting each other, but RNG just looks stronger at the moment.
Knock up on the Uzi at a half HP, but they cannot get the damage up, but their impact is going to fall the pickup, but they get the trade, and that is huge to knock down Uzi. Suppression to the back line. They could kill off Meng, but first traded on Sole. So now it's a 3-on-3 for the back half. This is going to be a huge amount of crowd control. Let Me's only going to find one.
Oh,
the forward MLXG! He's so spicy into the back line, looking for big ones here as it's still a 3v2. The turret falls down. RNG win another fight.
And that's what happens when you have the on. You can throw it from downtown. Double Smash still not up from all those moments ago. RNG still end up with the lead.
Ooh, really nice pillar to stop down Let Me, but even still, this is RNG taking so much more off the Baron. +1 in the fight. Another couple of turrets fall down in the mid lane. Inhibitor is theirs as well, and it's now an easy reset to grab Drakes to go for the next push.
They're so far ahead in this game, and it all started with Uzi and Ming down that bot lane, winning and finding kills. Uzi in this fight here, he's very far ahead. His damage is absolutely insane. He knows that, but the pillar coming in behind him keeps him in turret range, and he ends up taking so much extra damage.
It takes 4 turret shots because of the pillar after he got baited in, almost killing Ole. And when the second member goes down, you think Team Liquid is the start of a comeback. With no flash onto double lift, he's taken down, and MLXG knows his man. Everyone walks up trying to kill Xiaohu. No one's protecting double lift.
Very well played, though, to find that backline target. Let Me and MLXG assassinating that AD carry. Double lift, sadly, 1 and 4 in this game. Hasn't picked off very successfully. Those long-range engage tools can be very good against Jhin. He's got no natural escapes. And it's been a well-played game from RNG.
And that's where we looked at the Braum Deficio. We didn't get it. We got the Janna instead for the laning phase. And you'd have to say, more than pass marks to Uzi and RNG, they weren't impacted by the range support, and we're not seeing the value of the Janna just yet.
We heard the analysts that's coming into the game in their predictions. Azale and Jet saying Doublelift needs to do well. It's about the bot lane from Team Liquid. They have to win it if they want to win this game. And for scoring, quickly to mention, they're playing against the world's best AD carry. And I want to add in Ming as well. In this game has been phenomenal. So you have Uzi and Ming playing top form. They were able to stop Team Liquid from getting ahead in the bot lane. It's been a crucial part of RNG getting ahead.
Absolutely agree. He's played so well on this Braum, and we've got 4 Quicksilver Sashes now in the mix as well. Good luck finding a good target on this one. The gold lead, 8,000. Royal Never Give Up. Have so much more to hit their opponents with as they continue the siege now in the bot lane. A quick channel, and they knock up some minions. Liquid will survive another minion wave here. A pillar might find Ming, but no, a nice stand behind me. Comes back to his team.
There's almost no threat from TL as they walk up, so RNG can walk forward, get auto attacks in. 3 ranged auto attackers here. They even poke their heads in before the minion wave crashes, and Let Me, with his banner of command, doing plenty of work as well.
Liquid just unwilling to actually pull the trigger in the 5v4. Yes, of course, teleport could let Me join back in, but now they're going to try. Here comes the teleport looking at the front line. A lot of damage coming across back and forth. The quick heal out from Ole. They managed to pull the teleport out, but this is going to be a pretty big bit of crowd control. A flash out from Double does not want to be dove, and that's going to be a turret falling. TP for a lot of flashes burned.
Team Liquid tried there, but all the engage ended up hitting just Ming in the front line, and then with the TP from Let Me coming, they forced Team Liquid back, and Doublelift ended up using his flash again here to try and avoid the engage. That will be huge for the next fight.
It's going to continue the siege. Won't see Let Me rejoin just yet. Remember that ult cooldown gets pretty down low as the game goes on. They're looking for the kill here, RNG.
A knock-up, though, onto the Graves could be really good damage. The root in there as well as silence, but no ulti to find as Uzi shoves back the team by himself. Gets a shield, he's going to be fine to walk back from the turret. A trade of blows back and forth, of course. Liquid so much closer to the source of regeneration.
He's on the top side, pushing in as well. You see on the way pings being channeled by Team Liquid. They know they have to respond to this turret already desperately low for the top lane inhibitor turret.
All right, we seem to get a reset from RNG's side. Baron is 1 minute 40 seconds. They probably don't need it, seeing as they are so far ahead. And Uzi just completed his 4th item on this Kog'Maw here. Great performance on his side. And Xiaohu as well grabs the Karma. They get an early kill in mid against Poe Builder. Allows him also to just quickly get to 2 items and just buff up this AD carry.
And let's answer the question of what does Team Liquid's comp do? Because I'm sure there'll be criticism thrown towards the Jhin that has struggled in this tournament. They have one of the best Baron comps that we've seen in terms of setup around Baron. They can have Malzahar, Voidlings, tank it up, and then the turn from Baron with a flash suppression, with the Jhin opening up, is very strong as well. So secure and setup around Baron was really their main win condition when you judge the 5 champions.
Well, they're also trying to focus just on Doublelift, getting a champion where they feel he can try and win lane. That was what he did against Fnatic with the Jhin here. They take the blind Janna to get a range support next to him, and then you can see a scenario where Poe Builder and Xmithie walks down to the bottom side. They force RNG's bot lane from the turret, and they can start snowballing the game. That did not happen. RNG, with their bot lane, with Kog'Maw here and Braum, had full control, even got a kill against Doublelift.
And these aggressive level 1s with Graves and the invading junglers have been so much stronger than any attempts at defense against the late invades that we're seeing. So the tone was set early. Xmithie was able to farm out regardless, but the momentum definitely shut down any hopes of the 2v2 winning lane for TL.
I've got to find something here into this one. 10 seconds till Baron spawns, and you can see how much darkness there is. You don't need a Nocturne for the fear to be struck into the eyes. Team Liquid hoping for something, a quick root, but that is still not a target they can really fight down as another turret falls. Minion pushing, doing so well. The inhibitor now open in the top and mid lane. Looking at this Baron dance back and forth, the ward going up, going down, blue buff spawns. They look for this one as Xmithie has to flash away.
I just like the patience here from RNG. They don't rush in and start the Baron. They know they can hide around, out of vision. The moment the Trundle shows up, he's flashing out. That now reduces the chances for Xmithie to get in that Baron pit. Team Liquid will need to fight their way out of this one. RNG, they're ready though.
Hoping for the team fight. Here comes the backline access. They don't find any targets just yet. And then he whiffs the ultimate. Is this the fight that Liquid needs? Down 10,000 gold. Knockup not quite going to find Cyan. Kites away, almost dies to Uzi. But the health bar is simply too high. Rolling up, just outstat their opponents.
Abysmal execution from RNG, but from ahead it doesn't matter much. Still 10,000 gold. It's still control of this Baron. But now if you walk up as Sion, as Xmithie, the turn isn't as scary from RNG, but the Baron damage, oh boy.
It's a lot. Another 3,000 health point. They're going to find the front line. Look at the burst coming across. Looking to kill off Orn. Let me just barely slinks away. But they silenced the front line. A quick pickup from the Baron. Health bar still low. Another silence. The shield's coming up. But can Liquid find an actual team fight? They wait out for Uzi's W to time out. Impact stays alive, and here's the curtain call. Will this re-engage work for Liquid? Do they want to take the 4th seed right now? They cannot quite find their opponents. More kiting back from Uzi, finding the poke. And this will be a now uncontested recall. RNG get the Baron, they get out, they get farther ahead.
Yeah, second time RNG. They managed to deny any way of a Baron steal. Xmithie's not allowed to get into the Baron pit in the first place. All Team Liquid will get is this mid lane turret. RNG will return, look towards the base where there are 2 open inhibs and 1 bot lane inhib turret. That's it.
It's the benefit of a gold lead to Fissure. When you are ahead, you can make execution mistakes that we saw Kingzone earlier today unable to make without being punished in the game early by the Flash Force. Now, TL back away. It was about the best case scenario for them. If they lost multiple members, the game could have just ended in one passage of play. But RNG, they still wear the Baron. They also have a naked inhibitor in mid lane and in top lane to return to.
And important to highlight that the mistake that happened wasn't the most important thing about the RNG team fight. It wasn't Uzi flashing in and suddenly he would die. It was just the engage, which suddenly meant that Team Liquid could actually kite back and buy a bit of time. But there was still a very fed AD carry that they couldn't deal with. And Team Liquid tried to get back towards the Baron. Now they have to defend bot lane.
And Uzi's been on an absolute tear this tournament. We said this was a match of 4 of the very best AD carries in the world. Uzi often considered #1 among them. He's had a stellar tournament so far, looking to bring his team into this one. Best KDA and a lot of kills on his squad. Looking at the bot lane siege now. Baron buff on, knocked out by a pillar, but still a few seconds to hit this turret. Got the health bar lower, a big knockup. Lemmy gonna try again to find the engage. Gets a couple of them there. They're gonna go for impact. He's gonna try to ult away, buys a few seconds, and now the re-engage towards the Ornn. Do they have the damage? Lemmy's getting low, pops an hourglass to buy some time. The stopwatch makes them do that, but still able to cut away cleanly enough. They're gonna force out Ole. Uzi gets the kill. Ming takes the turret. The shields are so big, and Uzi wants them all. He's on a double. He's got a red buff. He's gonna pop the move speed. Looks for Xmithie. Almost gets that third one, but they've still cracked the base. They're on the second inhibitor. That one's going to fall with the 5v3. You have to believe RNG gonna make this one closed out. They will get that battle for first place as Uzi gets the unofficial Quadra, and he's gonna look for that fifth one. Not gonna get the slow just yet. And they have the restraint to go back for the Nexus turrets. Royal never give up. Gonna end this record with the win. It's gonna be a great run of 7-3. They will have their showdown with Flash Wolves for the best team in group stage.
Uzi was just waiting for his moment. He didn't care if he was against a double range lane. He knew he would find his time. And now RNG book a date with the Flash Wolves for that all-important first slot. And we are going to 5 games on our set.
And RNG versus Flash Wolves happened yesterday, and Royal Never Give Up had won that one. You think they are poised, they are on form now, ready to take that stab to grab the #1 seed and live up to the legacy that Edward Gaming had so many years ago and take this title, win an international tournament for China.
It'll be absolutely insane with these two tiebreakers, because the other one, Fnatic versus Team Liquid.
Oh, baby.
Like, coming into this, that was not exactly the kind of tiebreaker I was expecting to see. Fnatic 4-2, they were looking good, but they have lost so many games now. And Team Liquid, despite the loss here, have done so well the last few days to bounce back. And now they get to face each other. Loser is out of MSI, winner goes to Paris.
Sometimes you can't script these tournaments better, can you?
No, absolutely not. So we know some of this shape up right here. Kingzone guaranteed to be the 3rd seed overall. They can't move from that spot. That's their end to the group stage. As RNG won, they've pushed above them. RNG versus Flash Wolves, the battle for first, and the choice between do you take Kingzone or do you take the winner of Liquid versus Fnatic? Of course, the other matchup is that Liquid Fnatic battle. One game to decide who is the last one to make it.
Yeah, and RNG will return to the stage shortly. They will be playing the first tiebreaker against the Flash Wolves. So we get to decide first place, and then we get the very important one, battle for the playoff spot.
They have an even quicker decision to make, because last time these two teams played, it was Karsa that jumped in to play against his old squad. Yeah. So even starting jungler is going to be something that we can really closely look at, as it does affect champion pools. Both of them have shown Graves, but I think it is going to be a very intriguing thing, especially with the mind games of bringing Karsa in against his old team.
So 2 tiebreaker games. I'm excited we get to stay on air and talk about more amazing League of Legends action. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. So RNG versus Flash Wolves, that battle for first. And now to get some more insight on that game, let's leave it to Dash and our analysts.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. RNG, they've bought themselves a tiebreaker here for first place against the Flash Wolves. And for Team Liquid, they're going to have to pick up one more win against Fnatic if they want to scrape by and grab that 4 slot into the semifinals. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this game, I want to run back through the final moments of this game as Uzi carries his team to victory.
And the Kwang Xiaogo comes up huge in these team fights. It is, of course, his name, the Mad Dog himself. And RNG have all been about raising the puppy. What I love is watching Uzi in team fights and what he hits to stack his Rage Blade before he immediately turns on Janna and literally 3-shots her.
Yeah, and Uzi is insane. He knows how to play these moments, but it's about how you get there. The punishing he does in the laning phase and the way he found every single kill at every stage in the game, lights out performance.
And I'd honestly say, I mean, Uzi had an incredible performance, but when you talk about the way he got there, I would say that was Ming. I think Ming was a monster in this game. He was constantly, finding opportunities to jump forward, put that Braum passive on someone, and then Uzi obviously there with the follow-up, with beautiful team fighting, given those advantages. But it's Ming that found the great pick on double in lane. It's Ming that put that bottom lane behind, and we watched that final fight. But that was, the game essentially decided by then because they were down 10, 11,000 gold.
And a reminder that Ming, this is his first time abroad. This guy was effectively a rookie when they went internationally last time with RNG, hand-picked from Young Miracles, one of our challenger squads, if you will, from China. And so seeing the synergy that's been built up with Uzi, having this partner in crime next to him, it's just a joy to see Ming really blossom into a top-tier support in our region right next to Mako.
I mean, a big contrast, from Team Liquid's first game where Doublelift hard carrying the team to this time, suffering so many of those early deaths.
I also got to say, if you were an NA fan, every time you heard the Oran horn, you just and you're like, oh, well, I guess Doublelift's dead again. Like, that was just terrible. I mean, Let Me had a monster performance, and I think RNG in general, this was a super clean game. Like, they were flanking from all sides. They were controlling vision around Baron so heavily. They were playing around mid lane priority. Like, they were looking really, really on point.
Yeah, they decimated them.
Yep.
Right? The mid lane ganks, the bottom lane control. If I was nitpicking TL's draft, I would say I would have rather seen Caitlyn because they won lane with it last time. But with the way that game played out, I don't think it would have really made much of a difference. RNG just kept their momentum going. That's their, fourth win in a row now? They started 3-3, now they're 7-3?
They basically had the stumble in the first few days, and since then it's been easy coasting.
And that's why I think a lot of people are now looking forward to this first place tiebreaker, with RNG being perhaps considered the favorite. We had the kind of slump here at the end for Flash Wolves. Yes, scraping, or rather a dominant win against Kingzone in their very final game to secure that tiebreaker, but RNG is looking real solid.
Do we know what side Flash Wolves are going to be on, blue or red?
Don't have the actual side selections yet. RNG will get side selection in that matchup, so they'll get to choose. And as was mentioned by the casters, our first place tiebreaker will take place before the fourth place tiebreaker.
I'm just going to throw this one out. If I'm Flash Wolves, I would like to see 3 bans. I would like to see Ezreal, Kai'Sa, and Kog'Maw. I think you have to force Uzi onto something like a Tristana, preferably the Xayah, because it is a champion that he's less comfortable on, and you need to somehow find that priority and just beat Uzi to those item breakpoints. Because I think if this is even footing in a 30-minute game, you absolutely lose.
RNG locked red, confirmed.
I think that's the right call. I think we're actually seeing there not be that many 100% champions that you must pick or ban on either side, and red side has more flexibility with counter picks in the draft phase. But kind of to a larger point, the setup for these 2 tiebreaker games really does mean everything, because Flash Wolves RNG play for the right, in my opinion, the right to not play Korea in the semifinals.
Yeah.
Because they'll then get to choose their opponent, which is either going to be NA or EU. And after everything that happened, the fact that it's coming down to another NA versus EU tiebreaker is as depressing as it is exciting.
Yeah, simultaneously both.
I mean, Flash Wolves, every team that went into playoffs, they were the only team they had a 2-0 advantage over was the LCK. Imagine the balls it would take if they win this tiebreaker over RNG and they pick Kingzone as their semifinals.
Yeah, you're gonna do that. You're gonna run head first into a best of 5.
Hey man, it was 2-0. They have 100% win rate.
What world? In what world? Come on, Azael. We aren't living in fantasy land, but we are perhaps living in a land where NA can scrape by against EU. Again, 1-1 these two teams have been against each other, Fnatic and Team Liquid, and so yes, perhaps momentum is slightly on Team Liquid side, having the more recent victory, but that was a tough loss to stomach there against RNG.
I mean, was it? I feel like you go backstage and Double's just like, I just got blasted in the bot lane, that I stepped too far forward. If that doesn't happen, maybe the game's different. I actually think if I'm the coach behind those players, that one's easy to get over. You had your nice little warm-up game. Now you're looking across from Reckless, who hasn't been performing. So, I think Double's probably feeling pretty good right now.
I think the fact that they get to watch a game helps
That's
their
true.
mentality, because I think within that game, Doublelift was definitely kind of mentally broken. Right? The way he was positioned against all the CC, how quickly he was forced to use his flashes, it's good that they get the game off. We know that they're capable of recovering from mental tilt. I mean, Ole benched himself earlier in the group stage. They came from 1-5 all the way to 4-5. We don't know if they'd be able to do it in the same day yet in this one, because I think losing that, as soon as the pressure was on again, you could definitely tell their play changed. They have to get that freedom they were playing with earlier back.
Do you want to go? I actually think that the most important takeaway from this series was the Malzahar priority pick, and that if they are in trouble against Fnatic, it's because they've revealed their hand that Pobelter does require this champion to really be effective in the tournament, and Caps could maybe exploit that if he doesn't have another 0-5 Zoe performance.
I'm just going to be really interested to see, if Bwipo is still starting after having a really rough day, as a rookie. Do you bring in Soa as, in that pivotal tiebreaker?
Sorry, something's in my eye right now.
Yeah, when we return, it's time for our first tiebreaker game.
Got me. I
Coming.
tried to hide it so badly. No, actually, I'm tearing up. No.
It's a very emotional day. NA versus EU, the
I
excitement.
can't handle it, guys. I can't handle it. No, but really, I do have something in my eyes.
I got this. When we return, it is time for our first tiebreaker game between RNG and Flash Wolves with the first seed on the line. And as we go, let's preview what is awaiting them.
That's why you're on my desk back at home, Jad. For
That was
exact-
fun, dude.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why you're on my desk.
Oh, I thought